think was the problem defensively, really in the first half?
Uh, I mean, a lot of it just not getting into the ball and make them feel us. They run some good actions, and they like to obviously run their offense through the big fella, and it's got a lot of easy stuff. And then they get their confidence going, and then they just shot the ball really well after that. We try to make that last ditch effort to get back in the game, but we know how this league works. You give team confidence coming off a loss. They're very determined in the first half, and you just make it really hard on yourself going down 18. It's a lot to overcome, thinking that you can just go on a second half run and not assert yourself early on the defensive end.
Was that final play that Clay took the long three? Was that? I mean, are you thinking that's the play design going into it? Did he just pop open, or what was your view of that play?
It's all just reads to figure out, one, if they're going to foul, and then two, just if they're not, and they kind of hesitate, just trying to find a good look, because there's going to be a lot of bodies around, and with the amount of time on the clock, it's in between, get quick to or trying to find another possession. So I caught it and thought KCP was going to foul, and then he didn't. I haven't seen how much space Clay had, but I mean, that's a shot. If it goes in, everybody's talking about how great of a play it was. And, I want to highlight that too much just because we shouldn't be in that situation to begin with.
Steph, James from Sky New Zealand here. Just wanted to ask you, last season, you spent a lot of time putting teams to sleep. And now what's going to be your response if teams start to, mimic you and put you to sleep this season? How are you going to respond? And it's like bedtime battles.
We'll see if anybody's bold enough to do it, but it's all fair games. I think CP shimmied on me back in the day. So if you give it out, you gotta be able to take it back.
Steph, would you say this game was like a good example for the younger players about what it's like when you're trying to repeat and playing as the hunted and the other team, feels like they have a little bit extra for you?
Yeah, I think it's feeling that, sense of urgency, that the thin margin, you're not going to blow every team out. It's not going to feel like it did opening night where everything we did, even though we didn't shoot it well, everything we did felt pretty in sync. Everybody was kind of clicking. You look up, you're up, 16, 20, double digits the whole second half, and feels easy. And then you get a team that's coming off a tough loss and, like I said, very determined out the gate. So you got to be able to match that energy. And to your point, there's a little bit of history involved, like, teams that you play in the playoffs or teams that feel like they, want to take your spot, come playoff time. So you got to definitely understand the lessons that you need to learn and have a sense of urgency coming out no matter who we're playing, because it's really hard to win in this league. And we all know that.
You've been a part of some elite defenses. When you look at the pieces you have, up and down the roster, what do you think when this defense kind of manifests into what it's going to be? What do you think will be the strengths of it?
Everything we've done in the past. Draymond anchors it. Loon does what he does. Everybody around is supposed to do our jobs. A lot of great scorers, a lot of great offenses in this league, and it's tough to bring that energy every night, but we can do it. And the young guys can help establish that identity for us all year. But we can switch. We can guard a pick and roll standard with your traditional big with Loon or Wise. Create, chaos out there, getting steals and turn that into offense. I think tonight is one of those lessons where if you don't get stops and you let them shoot free throws and you're taking the ball out the basket, the offensive end becomes easier because you're playing against set defenses, the whole time. So you don't want to be in that situation every game.
Jordan Poole, he had, I think, 4 turnovers and 5 shot attempts, and kind of Steve talks about how he kind of has a target on his back now. What kind of advice do you give for him when, teams are throwing double teams at him and stuff like that, just with dealing with the adversity of signing a mega extension and everything like that?
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to surprise anybody. You're going to be on the scout report. They're going to study your game a little bit more, but you got to embrace that. And, he's ready for that. It's, small sample size right now with 2 games, and try to just find his rhythm, especially with a different lineup out there, different guys he's playing with in that second unit. So just getting comfortable. And then the biggest thing is, we all kind of get in our own head sometimes when you're not having your best game, and you have to still bring your energy because things change really quickly, and you got to be ready for those kind of momentum swings by just staying present, staying in the moment, not getting too down on yourself. And he'll got a lot of confidence that he'll be able to figure that out.
Steph, you obviously you've done title defenses before, and you've learned a lot. Each one is different. What does this one feel like compared to the last ones you've had in terms of defending a title, but also with a totally different team and a different vibe this year?
I mean, it's just that, like, the first 15, 16, what we start? I forget what
14, 15.
24 and 0 or something like that.
Yeah.
23 and 0, 24 and 0. And then the other 2 or the other year, you're just trying to again create that sense of urgency to start the year, where nothing you did last year matters in terms of rolling that into this year. You have a couple different pieces, guys with a little bit higher expectations around him. Kind of the question before about teams kind of gunning for you and studying you a little bit more and understanding your game a little bit more. So you got to embrace all of those things. And I mean, it's a very consistent experience starting fresh and trying to not fast forward to another playoff run too soon, because we have to continue to build our identity, and that takes time. So just enjoying that process.
It's also that long view, though, right? Whether you give Andre needs to take time, Clay needs to build up, Draymond needs to build up. Like you don't have shoot arounds all the time. Like there's a sort of nod to the age of the roster now, and injuries people have had.
Yeah, but you got to balance that with. I mean, you have 4 guys that are playing significant minutes in our rotation that have more responsibility this year and are getting consistent minutes that have to learn and just get those reps. So it's a fun but tough juggling act for everybody involved. But yeah, our expectations are high that we'll hit a good stride as we go through the regular season, and really understand who we are, who this specific team is, in terms of chasing another championship.
Steph, how badly did you want to take that last shot that Clay missed, that 3, and how important is it to you to be that guy in the clutch?
I mean, like I said, it's kind of, you want to be aggressive, and obviously I trust myself to make a lot of shots down the stretch, especially in that kind of situation. But you also, you have a lot of threats around you that can make shots as well, and you just try to make the right play. Sometimes you can kind of get lured in the hero ball, and I know a lot of people like that, but it's just off a feel. And again, I haven't seen that play back to know if there are any other options, but early in the year, late game execution and all that, it's sometimes a little tricky to, execute when you haven't been in those positions in a while, and would love to have seen the shot go down, but we'll learn from it.